Welcome to Empowered Mind, Body, Soul. I'm your host, Olivia Paige with Ascension Healing Sounds. And today we are joined by a special guest, Tiffany Love. She is my friend and an artist. And today we will be talking about her mental health journey.
Empowered Mind, Body, Soul. A podcast journey to your truth with heartfelt stories, sound healing, and life hacks.
Welcome, Tiffany. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Olivia.
being here. Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about where your mental health struggles began?
Sure. Yeah, for me, it started, at least that I can remember, it started like right after high school for me, going into my first year of college. That's when I started having anxiety and some depression. It was after my parents got divorced. I was going through some insomnia there, which didn't help with the anxiety or the depression. But I did start seeing a therapist there and had me on a lot of drugs. Let's just say that. A lot of different kinds. None of which really helped me. But I tried that for about a year, maybe even 2 years. And then after that, I got a new therapist. I stopped going to school after that. Had a new psychiatrist who diagnosed me with bipolar disorder. I was having a lot of manic episodes and see why they would have gone with that diagnosis, but it didn't really ever feel right to me. It didn't feel like it fit right. And that's when I started with my current therapist I've had since 2009. And she's just been awesome. Like, she's an angel to me. I love her. And she gave me a lot of help along the way. She's given me my ESA dogs. At first, I had a dog named Miko, and I had him for about 7 years. And in 2017, he ended up running away. And yeah, we never found him. I did get my other dog, Bella, now. I've had since that same year. I got her about 6 months after that. And they all felt very like divinely led. That's when the spirituality side opened up for me. Yeah, I went through a lot of loss actually that year in 2017. So the grief definitely took a toll on my mental health as well. Because I just didn't know how to handle it really. So I lost my dog. It was like, I think a week before my birthday in January. And then 3 days after my birthday, my dad passed away from alcohol.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
And in that same year, we lost all 3 of our fur babies. We had 2 dogs and a cat. The other 2 were just older and they passed away from natural causes. But then we had Bella, and she was just light in our lives. And that's when I really connected with doing a lot of my artwork as well. And it was just literally spewing out of me. I could not control it. Some things I did for some art shows, or what do you call them? Like little vending shows, things like that. Another place I found during that year is called the Garden of Angels in Portage, Wisconsin. And that place is very special to me. I feel like I found it at exactly the right time in life. It's a garden where the lady, she opens up her home. It's like a farm. And yeah, she opens up her garden for mental health awareness and anybody that has a lost loved one who just wants to come and remember their loved one. And it's just a very special place. And they do things like rock painting events, or they do some mental health training things. You can just go walk around the garden. It's all free and based on donations. So they do they'll pick flowers and donate them to nursing homes, or just anybody that needs a bouquet of flowers, because it's all about love there, and it's just about making somebody's day a little brighter and just being kind and all the good things.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
yeah, I've done some painting out there too. It's just if I was to describe heaven on earth, that would be it. It was just like the best place in the world, my favorite place. We got married there 3 years ago too, so it's extra special. Yeah, I love it there. But yeah, the first time I went there and I told her about my dad just passing away, and she's been through a lot of grief herself. So we just super connected. And she's one of my very good friends now. And I'm just so grateful for her in the garden. It goes through the summer and into the fall. And then even in the winter, she opens up her yard they have like a bunch of pine trees out there that you can go out and decorate a tree in honor of your loved one. Sometimes people don't have places to go on the holiday, so it's nice to have a place like that where you can just really build a community and get some support when you need it. So.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
You said this started when you were getting out of high school and your parents were divorcing, and then you were starting college. What were you going to college for?
I was going to be an art major. I did a full year there. Got some really cool art classes in and a couple of the kind of lamer classes, the ones that you have to do like English, math, and
the general education.
The general, yes. But the art classes were super fun for me. I enjoyed them thoroughly. And yeah.
Have you always been into art?
Yeah, it's always been there for me. It's something that I'm definitely drawn to. I find art in many forms, whether it be with a paintbrush or a pencil or chalk or even gluing things together or cooking, or it can be just in the way you like some flowers or the beauty around you. Like art has so many forms. So yeah, I definitely have the artist brain, you could say. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then you started seeing a therapist and she put you on a bunch of drugs. Was that like her first thing that she did?
Oh,
or
yeah.
were you in therapy for a while before she did that?
No, when I was in college, that first therapist I went to, yeah, they just straight to the drugs. And, I was kind of young and naive and I didn't know any better. I'm just trying to feel better. And I think it really made things worse. I actually had some like suicide attempts and it was probably because of some of the drugs. So yeah, I got pretty bad.
Do you think that taking that medication is what led to the like misdiagnosis of bipolar?
I think it was just like a generalized guess. Really
kind of like a label they just put on.
Yeah, exactly. In 2012, from another doctor, I got a different diagnosis of PCOS. And as soon as I found that out, everything's clicked together. Like that, it's a hormonal imbalance, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And so, yeah, it affects the hormones and it can be harder to lose weight for some people. Some people, one of the major symptoms I had was not a regular period. And I forget the word they use, but like hair loss can be a symptom, or hair on the face. That's where the bearded lady comes from.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be harder to have children sometimes. And I just recently connected it with the binge eating. So that was something that was new to me too. So I'm still learning about it myself. Because honestly, the last 10 years, I really just ignored that diagnosis. Because once again, all they wanted to do was either put me on birth control or throw another drug at me. And I was like, I don't want to go down that path. And nobody really told me what it was or any specifics about it. It's called polycystic ovarian syndrome, but you don't even necessarily have to have the many cysts on your ovaries to be diagnosed with it. So it's just like one of those disorders that are syndromes that it's not very specific to one person. Like you could look overweight, you could be a normal weight. It's not something you can just look at a person really and see. And yeah, there's just not a lot of research out there yet. It's still not that it's really new either, because it's from my research, it seems like it's been around for a while. But they don't really know if it's genetic or if it's caused by environmental factors.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought that it was just a condition where you would have these extra cysts growing on your ovaries. I didn't realize there was a hormonal component, although that seems obvious now that we're talking about it. And yeah, everybody's body is going to respond differently to hormonal imbalances in their body. And our hormones are really regulating our whole system, our whole body, all of our systems. And so when they're out of whack, that's definitely a problem. Have you thought about looking into bioidentical hormone therapy?
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Yes, maybe look into that. I
Hmm.
can send you a message later
Yeah,
with the
please
name of it,
do.
but it's bioidentical hormone therapy. So it's different than going on like birth control. It's
Hmm.
where the doctor should like test your hormones and see what you need in order to balance your hormones with these bioidentical, apparently not synthetically made, and they're supposed to help bring balance. I know I don't have that diagnosis. I had endometriosis and I don't have my uterus anymore, but I have a feeling that my hormones all over in my body are all screwed up. So
Hmm.
I've been
Understandable.
wanting to get onto some bioidentical hormone therapy to help regulate those hormones because it's hard when you have these hormonal imbalances because it affects your mood, it
Hmm.
affects how you sleep, it affects your weight, it affects like everything, it affects my energy levels. It just feels like everything is working against you even if you're trying to get healthy. It seems like it makes it so much harder.
It does,
um,
especially the sleep. I feel like for me, especially like if my sleep is off, everything's off.
oh yeah.
So yeah, that's a big thing for me is getting the right amount of sleep and good sleep.
Yeah, it is super important. I know health coaches or doctors might talk about how important it is. And especially when I was younger, I just was like, yeah, whatever. It's not
Hmm.
really that important. I can make up that sleep the next day or the day after, and you really
Hmm.
can't. But I
No.
have noticed in the last few months where I've been trying to get to bed earlier and get more sleep,
Hmm.
and how that's made a huge difference in like how I'm functioning overall
Hmm.
the next day. And the other important thing is going to bed before midnight. So I have this like terrible habit of where I'm up until midnight, 1, 2, 3 in the
Yeah.
morning and thinking, oh, I'll just sleep in the next day. But
Hmm.
apparently our nervous system and maybe all of our systems like follow that circadian rhythm, and they all want to shut down at a specific time and then
Hmm.
restart. And it's, I think, more in sync with like sunrise and sunset. And so if you
Yes.
get to bed before midnight and closer to like sunset, that is going to be better for the body. So I've been trying to do that.
Hmm.
And I do notice that it helps. I'm not perfect. I still have nights where I stay up late because I just do and I feel like it.
Hmm. Right.
And I can tell the next day, those are days that I have worse days, and the days that
Hmm.
I do sleep, and especially if I can get a whole string in a row, it's wow.
It does
I feel
make a
so much
difference.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah. It matters.
definitely.
It like affects the hormones and everything. So I'm not saying it
Hmm.
fixes everything, but it's a definitely a big piece.
Hmm.
Let's talk about the tree
Hmm.
because I know that you have this a special tree that you have painted
Hmm.
that is actual like a real physical tree somewhere, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's called a Mount Hope tree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's forget it's in Mount Hope. It's going towards Fenimore, Wisconsin. It's about I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes away from there probably. It's just this really cool random tree. It's on the way to my grandma's house. So every time we would go there, we'd always call it, I think it was like the reminds me of the tree from like the Lion King or something, where it's just very it's very out of place in there. It's very random because it's like in between Amish land. It's literally between cornfields and stuff. So it's just very misplaced, but it definitely gives people a lot of hope. Something I've been drawn to my whole life. And yeah, I think I've painted it probably 3 or 4 times. I'm gonna say I don't think I have one here with me, but yeah,
Is
it
it
is
an
a
oak tree?
it is not an oak tree. It's a I'm pretty sure it's an elm, Dutch elm,
Oh, okay.
because I feel they've been saying that I think it had the Dutch elm disease, and a couple
Oh,
years back it got hit by a drunk driver, so it lost a few of the branches and stuff. But it's still standing there last time I checked. But yeah, it's a great tree. I do connect with a lot of different trees, but that one particularly for sure.
and
Mhm.
why is that one so special to you?
I don't know, maybe because it's just been there like my whole life. And I've only gotten out of the car a few times to take some pictures with it and stuff because it is on highway. But no, it's just a very cool tree. It has its own Facebook page and everything. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a cool tree. Hell, I can't explain it.
Yeah, I've never
Hmm.
seen it except in your paintings, and it looks
Hmm.
like a really nice tree.
It is a
You know,
great tree. Yeah.
yeah, it
Hmm.
looks like a beautiful tree. It looks like it would be a beautiful spot to hang out. It's too bad it's on a highway.
It
I didn't
would.
realize that it was on a highway.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if you can find a place to park, you could go hang out with it for a little bit or something. I always envision painting the tree under the tree or something, but I don't know how realistic that is. So there's not really anywhere to park next to it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you said that you had started seeing a new therapist who you've
Mhm.
been seeing for a while now. Since when? When was that you
Yeah,
started?
2009.
2009.
Hmm.
Okay. And so how has this new therapist helped you? Is it a she?
She.
Has she helped you with any kind of tips or tricks or things to help you? Because I see
Yeah.
some people making TikToks and they're like, oh, my therapist taught me this technique or whatever. And I've
Hmm.
never seen a therapist where they taught me how to do
Yeah.
anything. And so I'm like,
Oh,
where are
sure.
these people? So have you
Yeah.
learned anything? Like,
Oh yeah, lots of stuff. She's been great. She connected me with, she knows I liked yoga, and she's one that brought up yoga with Adrian on YouTube. And that's been a really good one for me. A lot of good breathing techniques. Pranayama is one of my favorites. It's like this nose through one nostril and then you go through the other nostril. It's really good if you're in like a panic attack mode or if you just want to calm down. It's good to do every once in a while just for fun, I think. But yeah, so she's been really supportive of that and she's just helpful for whatever I need. Like 2010 I went through bankruptcy and like I took all my paperwork there and we just sorted it. We got on the floor and we sorted the piles. So that, and she's been great. She's got me my ESA dogs. So I just need a letter from her that gets renewed every year. And just her help with just life in general. I just go to her and I just vent all my things to her. And she always has something, depending on what I'm talking about. Something will always come up for her that she'll have suggestions on things I can try or do, or places to go, people to see, all the things. She's just helpful all the time.
she helped you get the ESA dogs.
Hmm.
Are these specially trained dogs to help people with mental health stuff, or how does that
Technically,
work?
they don't require any special trainings like a service dog
Okay.
would. But my one bigger dog, Bella, I don't know if it's because she's like part Chihuahua and she's just really sensitive. She's a very sensitive dog. And she connects with not only me, but every single person she meets. She can pick up on emotions like no other. And
Aw,
I ask for a hug and just having her pressure, she's like a big 50-pound Chihuahua. But yeah, if I ask her for a hug, she's like right there. Yeah. Let me
that's
see if I
sweet.
can get her up here. Hold
Yeah, I
on
was
one
gonna say,
second.
can you get her or
Yeah, let's see.
show her to us?
The hug. Oh, here she comes.
Aw, Bella.
Yeah,
Hi,
she's a big
Bella.
baby. Uh-huh.
How are you?
She's the sweetest.
Yeah, you're a pretty puppy.
And then we have another puppy that I recently just got because over this last couple of years I've added to my kind of diagnosis and I got some PTSD that kind of popped up. And part of that is with my first dog running away. I have the fear of losing Bella and not having a dog. So I talked to my therapist about it and she agreed that it would be maybe a good time to get another dog and just have another dog that Bella can help train. So we have now a little 1 year old corgi mini Aussie mix, and she's just crazy as ever. But she's super sweet too and so smart. She's stubborn on some things and she likes to do what she likes to do. Definitely has some learning to pick up on, but she's mellowed out a lot since we've got her too. So she's getting there. Bella's 7, so she's just always been super sweet and really mellow compared to Sunny, the other one. But yeah, she's a special pup.
That's nice. All right, so I know that you told me that you had started Metformin. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? What was it like being put on that, and are you still taking it? What's it like being on it? Has it helped? Are there any side
Yeah.
effects? Anything that you'd like to share?
Okay, yeah, sure. So yeah, I avoided metformin probably for the last 10 years or so because I was scarred from that first time of kind of being over drugged. And, I just don't really trust the pharmaceutical kind of world. So yeah, I just avoided it for the last 10 years and didn't really pay any attention to my PCOS. But in those last 10 years, my husband and I have been trying to start a family, have some kids, and it was, let's see, I think it was 21, 22 that I started with a new doctor. And of course, she found out about the PCOS and recommended metformin, which is technically like a drug used for diabetics
Yeah,
to
that's
help.
what I
Yeah, it's to help regulate your insulin because that's part of my PCOS is I'm insulin resistant.
okay.
So that's why they recommend that. So she said something that really made a lot of sense to me this time. And she was like, because I was only having about 3 or 4 periods a year. That's one of the major symptoms for PCOS. And she's, if you're not getting that out of your body, it's just building up in your uterine walls and things like that. And it can lead to certain types of cancers. And I was like, whoa, crap, I never thought about it like that. So I decided to try metformin to see if it would help us get pregnant. And her and an OBGYN, they said, if I'm not pregnant within the next year to come back and we would just talk more about it. And this was 2023, February of 2023. It was about 10 months later. I actually got pregnant for the first time ever. I was 35 years old. And we went in for an 8-week ultrasound and found out it was ectopic pregnancy. So I had to go in. Yeah, I had to go in for surgery. Me too. It's definitely devastating. And with all the back-to-back loss that we've had gone through in the last 6 years, I lost my dad and all our fur babies, and my husband lost his dad right before that. And then 2020, both of our grandpas passed. And then we lost the baby in 2023. And my husband's mom, she passed away from lung cancer. And then my grandma also passed away from a cancer. So yeah, we just had a lot of back-to-back loss, and the grief was so heavy. It was suffocating.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I got
You
stuck in
guys get
it. I don't think we are all the way through it, to be honest. I think it's a daily thing. This last year, the things have began to lighten finally. So my therapist, she had recommended there was this yoga therapy that was opening in the back of her building. And when they first started, I started bringing my ESA dog Bella with me, and we went every week for almost a year. They had this sound healing bath that we would go to. It was great. And then before that class, they had this 12-step program. They called it Y12SR, which is like a community class to where they use the 12 steps of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So it would be for any and all addictions, nothing specific. And instead of the word God that they use in the big book, they replaced it with love. So every time they said God, they would just say love. And that was super helpful for me because I don't know if I had some kind of God complex from being raised Catholic that as soon as I got confirmed, I just stopped going to church and maybe had some resentments against the God that I knew. But after going to those classes, when I first started going, I didn't even think I had any addictions. I was just going because my dad was an alcoholic and I thought the community could be nice, and it was the free class before my class, so why not? But I really got a lot out of it, and just sometimes I would share, sometimes I wouldn't, but I'd always be there listening, and that was super powerful to just be present, and it was a place I could vent if I needed to, and it was super helpful with the grief. I found a poem during that time that really lightened the grief for me, and I shared that there. And that's where I got connected to another 12-step program, and I've joined that November of last year, and that's been really helping a lot. Because after the first year at the yoga therapy, I wasn't allowed to bring Bella to the classes every day anymore because they changed their policy. So I could still take her to a one-on-one class, but there was like too many people trying to bring too many animals kind of thing. So it was understandable, but it was still sad because I was really like connected there and was getting a lot out of it. And I still do go, just not as often because I really do need my dogs. I try to do some things without them, but I just feel better with them. So yeah, I found that another 12-step program, and that's been so helpful too, just to get that extra support and just to build community and connections with people. And not only that, but my higher power now I do have a good connection with. It's my higher power of love, which I connect back to the yoga therapy as well. But I like to say in working the steps, I've always had this, I don't know, I guess intuition that my sole purpose is to help spread love. Like I've just always known that. And it goes back pretty deep. Like my first tattoo right here, let's see if I can show you. It's probably going to be backwards, but it says love there. That was my first tattoo. I can't remember exactly what year I got it, but that was there. And then my married last name now is Love. So that connects as well. Just a lot of things. I've just always felt like that was my purpose, to just help spread the love to anyone and everyone who needed it. But now in this 12-step program, I've come to really love doing the outreach and service work. And I feel like doing that really helps my brain get out of the funk. So it kind of takes away, it takes away from the art sometimes, because I haven't been able to do that as much lately. But it always comes back around. It's like the yoga too. If I don't get it in every day or every week like I would like to, it's always there. It's like a good tool that I can always fall back on, and I can always like change up my rotation here sometimes. But yeah, doing the service work and just connecting with people, especially with brains like mine, it's just a beautiful thing. And it's super helpful. It is, definitely. It's a great way to live life for sure. It's nice to know you're not alone and actually feel that way.
Right. Yeah, that is nice to know that you're not alone, because it's easy to feel that way. You wouldn't think so with 8 billion people on the planet, but yeah, you do feel alone. And I did that soul realignment session for you all those years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that was your sole purpose, was like divine love. That's interesting.
It always pops up. Yeah, it's always been there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was such a connection for you.
I didn't at the time either, but just pops up when it pops up.
That's great.
Yeah.
What a great purpose, though, because we need more of that in this world, is to spread more love, to have more community, to feel more connected to people, and to feel supported, you know?
It's key.
So, yeah, I know I have definite times of feeling alone and stuff, especially as a single mom and kind of not very much of a support system.
Yeah, it's easier to hibernate and to just try to do things on your own than it is to put yourself out there, because nobody wants to get hurt or anything. But you know,
let
in
yourself
this,
be vulnerable.
yeah, exactly. But I don't know, something about it is just when it feels right, and it's been a great few months. I've found my sponsor and stuff in February, and it was very aligned for me because I was looking specifically for a sponsor with PCOS, or at least that knew what it was. And the first lady I reached out to, a random list of available sponsors, she ended up having it too. And I was like, okay. Wow. Yeah. And to top it off, I found her on the 7-year anniversary of my dad passing. Wow. So I just felt very divinely connected to her. And she's just been so helpful, and I'm just so grateful and eager to do the same for someone else. Yeah, as much outreach as I can do every day, and I'm just here to help in any way I can. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can we circle back to when you were over medicated? What was that like? And how did you get off some of the medication or all of the medication? I don't know your journey. So can you share more about that? And can you share how you got off the medication? And was your doctor supportive, or did it take a lot of convincing? And I would like to know, have you replaced any of those medications with any kind of herbal therapies or any other alternative therapies?
Yes, I don't remember exactly how many drugs I was on, but I know for the sleep ones, they tried about 15 or 20 different kinds. And that was actually one of the pills that I tried to overdose on, because I was literally up for 4 days straight one time and I just wanted to sleep. But at the same time, it was a very depressing feeling. And it was probably from some of the antidepressants as well, and a lot of anxiety meds, things like that. But yeah, it was probably like 20 to 30 different meds overall throughout that year. And when I started with the new therapist, my therapist doesn't prescribe drugs, so I had the psychiatrist that would do that, and she's the one that gave me the bipolar diagnosis and stuff. And I tried it for a while, and then I started smoking marijuana, and that seemed to help me more than any of the other drugs ever did. So I guess I self-medicated with it. Actually, for the last 17 years I did. And my therapist, she's a drug and alcohol counselor, so she knew all about it. She was pretty supportive. She didn't promote the weed use or anything like that, but she was supportive of me of just stopping all medications and only smoke. So I did that for the last 17 years until I started. So
your new therapist helped you get off the medication?
Yeah, she not so much helped me, but I literally just stopped taking them. She knew about that and that I was smoking in place of it, but she would just ask me about it during every session. Sometimes I would have sessions once a week back then. Now it's usually like once or twice a month. So it's just based on what I need. But she was awesome. Like she even took me for some years when I didn't have any insurance. She took me pro bono. Yeah, for some years when I didn't have insurance. And now she has her own, now she has her own practice, and she's been awesome. Like, she just connects me to everything good in my life. Really.
That's good.
Yeah.
And are you still using the marijuana?
Funny story. I actually had been thinking about quitting for like maybe the last year or so, because before I started the 12-step program, I got a stage 2 hypertension diagnosis as well at the end of November last year. So for high blood pressure. And so I was feeling overwhelmed and really scared by it because I'm already morbidly obese. I have the PCOS, anxiety, depression, PTSD, all these like diagnoses just piling up. And that one really scared me because I didn't want to have a stroke or a heart attack. And it's something that is controllable, but I didn't want to go on medications for it either. When I started doing the 12-step work, around the 4th step, which is like an inventory step, I woke up one morning and I was like, I did my prayer and my meditations and stuff, and I woke up thinking maybe I should tell my sponsor that I smoke weed, because I had never told her about it. Because to me it was just like another medication. Like, you don't mention that. But it was a little bit different, and it was a way of self-medicating. So I ended up bringing it up to her that day, and that was February 8th. And actually I had got into some legal trouble with the weed. What was it? That April. So it was like over a year ago now. I got pulled over one night coming home from work for my license plate being out. And I was in another county. In my county, the marijuana is decriminalized here, but in the county I was in, it is not. And Wisconsin in general, zero tolerance states. I got pulled over by a sheriff, and they asked me about if I had smoked weed, and I was honest, and I told them I had earlier that day, and I ended up having probably about a gram or two on me, and I got arrested for the first time ever.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So about $3,000 later in tickets and from insurance changes, I had to get an SR22. I lost my license. I had to get an occupational license for the last 6 months. I actually just got that back last week. So yeah, it's all over now, done with, but I still didn't really learn my lesson right away. It was in my mind to quit, but I really didn't want to. I loved the marijuana. It saved me. I felt it was just really helpful for me. But then when I got the stage 2 hypertension, I looked up some stuff and I was like, maybe it's connected to some of the high blood pressure stuff, or maybe it's part of the reason I can't get pregnant. I didn't know. There's all the possibilities in the world out there. So it was in my mind to quit. But when I woke up that one morning and I did the prayer meditation, and I ended up telling my sponsor about it that day, after I went on a walk with a friend, and she happened to work for the dispatch of that county, and so she knew about my ticket. She asked me about it, and again, she said something that really I'd never thought about before. She was like, if you get pulled over again in the next 10 years, the next time, it could be anything. It could be weed or alcohol, anything in my system, and they take a blood test. It would be a felony charge next time. Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh
as soon
gosh,
as she
it
said
sounds
that,
so ridiculous.
it is. It sounds very ridiculous. And that was just enough to like, that very next day was the last day I smoked weed. So it's been about almost 120 days that I haven't smoked. And at first I was worried about it because my body, like I was a daily smoker, morning, noon, night, anytime, throughout the day, all day, every day. So I didn't really know how my body was going to adjust to it. And the first couple weeks, it was a couple weird dreams coming off of it and maybe a headache here and there, but that's normal for me here and there anyways. But other than that, just keeping up with my outreach calls and service and working my program every day, that's really been what's just keeping me going, and I haven't really had any problems coming off of it. I do miss it from time to time. I don't know if I'll never smoke again or not. For me, it's just up to my higher power right now, and it's nice to know that I don't need it. I do appreciate that. The
How's
freedom.
your mental
Mental health. It feels pretty good. Better
do
than
you
it's
feel like,
been.
because you said you were self-medicating, and so now that you're not doing it, do you feel like it has affected your mental health in any negative or positive way?
I feel like it's been mostly positive. One of the yoga therapists in one of the sessions, somebody had made a share about going through this life completely sober is like a superpower on its own. And something in that really resonated with me to like really give that a full-fledged try, to just like really deal with the emotions and just, yeah, just feel them really. Instead of hiding from them, because I was in denial for a long time too, and lying to myself as well sometimes. And I still do have a love and an appreciation for marijuana and getting me through those times. But at the same time, if I really am honest with myself, there are some times that it could have clouded some of my judgments or food choices. They tend to give you the munchies as some of those things like that. For me, it gave me more focus, I feel like. I felt like it really enhanced a lot of things in my life, but even without it, like I still feel those things. So maybe it wasn't completely from the marijuana that I was getting those things. That it is possible to still get those things without it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you. I think you have to do what works for you and what's best for
Yes.
you. And if that's working for you, then that's great. And I think there's something to that too, of being completely sober. So I'm sure you remember I used to smoke pot too, and I had quit back in 2018. And yeah, and I just couldn't do it anymore. It was actually giving me anxiety, actually. It was also a big intuition thing. There was a big piece to that, like my body was telling me I needed to quit, but it was a spiritual like intuition thing, because there's something that happened like months later that it was really important that I was completely sober. And so it was good that I had gotten sober, and I've never been a drinker, but I liked pot, but I don't do it anymore. And even though it's been all these years, I do still miss it once in a while. There's something about the social aspect of it too, and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I'm glad that I'm not doing it anymore. You know what I mean? I would say 99.8% or whatever. So there really isn't like a lot of regret that I quit. And I don't have anything against people who do it. That's fine. And I think it's ridiculous that Wisconsin is every state around us is like legalized marijuana except Wisconsin, and it's just so silly.
Yeah, and to threaten my freedom felony offense is just, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So
no,
it sucks. I feel like I've learned over the years that everything happens for a reason. And even if I don't get to know why, I do trust that everything happens for a reason. So.
Let's tie this all together with how did the spiritual become incorporated with your mental health journey, and how has that helped you, and what spiritual things are you doing aside from maybe the yoga? What else are you doing that helps you?
Yeah, I feel like the 12-step program, connecting with my higher power now, that's like a daily thing for me that has never been there like that before. So just to like really connect every day, whether it be with complete strangers from my program, doing outreach, things like that, just helps me because it helps my brain stay in the right frame of mind. And for me, I do have addictive tendencies. I do believe I was born that way because I think my dad was in AA for some time. I think it does run in the family, but I think it is something that can be triggered too by grief or trauma or whatever it may be. And we all deal with those kinds of things, whether you're born with. But actually, when I first met like you and some of the other psychic friends that I have, it was like right after my dad had passed, and I was really getting into my art, and everybody was so supportive of that. Then there was actually one day where I was out looking for my dog that had went missing, and I was literally praying in the car, just give me a sign that he's okay. And it happened on multiple times. One day I was driving to work and I was praying for those signs, and then all of a sudden across the highway, a red heart balloon just went across the sky, and I was like, okay.
Wow.
And then another day when I was out there looking for him, just literally, I would just need a sign, praying for a sign. And then I come up not far from my home, and there was this mailbox that had a believe sign. I pulled over and just started crying. And I got out and I saw the lady across the way that belonged to the mailbox. And I got out and I told her, thank you for having this sign here. And I told her about my dad passing and that I was like looking for my dog. And she was also like very connected to that spiritual kind of, I guess, world. And she had a lot of loss and stuff in her life too. So it was just like one of those connections. And we're still friends to this day too. And she's like an older lady. We're just really good friends. And I don't know that we would have met any other way. So I think the higher power is at work, and you just have to ask for guidance and just be open and willing to just meditate on it and listen to your intuition when that comes through, because that's been pretty powerful in itself too. Sometimes I like to not really ignore it, but just put things off because it's not always something I want to do, but it always comes back around. My therapist, she had recommended Al-Anon to me for a long time, many times. And I looked it up and I saw the big book stuff and the God stuff. And this was back in like 2010. I was like, nope, not for me. I didn't even go to one meeting. But I wasn't ready then. And this time around, I feel like a lot of the back-to-back loss and grief piled up on me, and without all of that, I don't think I would have got the same kind of connection that I really got this time from this program. So yeah, it all connects in one way or another. I think we are all connected too, so that connection is connection to higher power to me, connecting with other people and sharing my story. Even if it helps one person, that's good enough for me.
Great.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for being here, Tiffany. I
Yeah, thank
appreciate you
you.
being here and sharing your story and allowing us to hear your story and be vulnerable with us. And I think all the spirit connections and synchronicities that you've had are just so awesome. And all the work that you're doing now, and just really grounding into I'm going to spread love and be a safe place for people and help create that support and community for others. So that's really great.
Yeah, you have to pay it forward.
Yeah,
It works.
for sure.
Thank you so much for having me too.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you again, Tiffany, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you too, Olivia. You too. Yes.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me in today's episode. Be sure to check the show notes for guest links and other helpful information. I'm your host, Olivia Paige, and you can find me on all the social media platforms at Ascension Healing Sounds.